तिनक धिन धागे न 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 तिनक धिन. Every day I wake I make my mind up. I'ma be the one, be the truth, be the way. Yeah. Every day I wake I make my mind up. Gotta keep my mind on the because they only telling their side of the story. Out here telling lies like they on Maury. Them poor rich kids get their money on phony. But down here in the hood, yeah, we know Forex. We growing up, yeah. We got the good. Good of them assets, good of my bag. Get rid of cash before the whole market crash. A news flash, just a blast from the past. We on the smash, be prepared to hit the gas, yeah. Build a land, get the wealth, change your name up. Get the title in your hands, put your game up. Melanation, elevation, arise. We divide, blood eye, and we travel. Drive. Blood eye, and we travel. Woo. That's my child. Woo. Blood eye, and we travel. Hey, hey, hit him with the hot.
Not tonight. I don't wanna fuss and fight. I just wanna make it right. Ooh, there's work to do. I wanna give you close to you. I wanna give you with all the things you want to do. Just relax and I'll take care of you. Anytime you want me, I'm saying that I love you every day, and I know like you love me, baby, if you get it.
Peace to the party. It's your homeboy back again with the news. So look, man. So is the feds a part of the censorship that's going on with social media? So you know me, I'm out doing what I do, doing my research, staying in tune to what's going on. And there's a lot of, hearings going on about people with the high-ranking officials within different federal organizations, namely the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, amongst the top, right? And so with that being said, they're being asked about these different lawsuits that are coming against them from different states, different individual organizations claiming censorship via social media, right? And they're talking directly about government incentives to do this. So I know a lot of y'all, I'm just your homeboy with the news. Y'all can think I'm capping, but I'm gonna lay the trail for you real quick, and then we're gonna scoot up to present day. So here we're gonna go to the other side real quick. I want y'all to get a breakdown of what they were saying with the Supreme Court ruling and what was the investigation. So we're gonna start there, do like we always do, and we're gonna come break it down. All right, so hold on, let me take it over here to screen 3.
Went too far in trying to get social media companies to remove what they consider disinformation about COVID. Caroline Shively has the latest.
Was the Biden administration violating citizens' First Amendment rights or fighting digital lies when it pushed social media companies to remove posts about COVID-19? That's the question now facing the Supreme Court.
It's the most important free speech case in our lifetime.
The justices heard arguments Monday morning after Missouri, Louisiana, and a group of social media users complained the administration's push for tech companies to remove posts about COVID amounted to government coercion.
It's treating Facebook and these other platforms like they're subordinates. Would you do that to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or the Associated Press or any other big newspaper or wire service.
There's a problem if the government is engaged in coercion, but if it stays on the persuasion side of the line and all we're talking about is government speech, then there's no state action.
But Missouri and the other plaintiffs argue it's a clear violation and much broader than COVID.
We've got to build a wall of separation between tech and state to protect our right to free speech, especially as we move into an election cycle.
We expect a ruling on the case sometime in June. Outside the Supreme Court, Caroline Shively, Fox 32, Chicago.
Damn, my bad. Had me on mute, bro. Rookie mistake. So look, what I'm getting at is you hear here from the Supreme Court, right? Supreme Court, they saying that people from Missouri, Louisiana, other groups of users come together and they put it down to where they're going and taking their case to the Supreme Court saying that they've been censored online, and they're alluding to the government being a part of. So this is a big deal. You heard bro say that this could be the biggest free speech case of our lifetime. So it's clearly something everybody needs to be informed on. And what I was saying while I was muted is, if you was on Facebook, especially during the pandemic, if you post something, you would easily get that fact checker that come. And who knows who was the one so-called checking these facts, but it was a lot of crazy things that was going on. And that was just really like a more egregious version, but they always do this behind the scenes. For the people who are content creators, they can vouch for this because we know how our content is judged by the algorithm, right? And you don't even have to have any violence or anything crazy, but if it's something political or anything that's about the pandemic, for sure, but you likely not to get monetized and a whole bunch of things on the back end. So this is just on the content creation side. You also got people, just your average everyday person, who would post their experience, what was going on. And if it was something that the algorithm felt didn't match the platform, they wouldn't just take that post away. What they'll do is make it to where it's not as visible to as many people. So it's a lot of games behind this. So I know for a fact that they ain't just bullshit. This is a real thing. So you heard it there first. Now I want you to hear another group talking about the same exact thing and breaking it down from a different angle. And then we'll go hear from the feds themselves.
Developments in a case alleging that top Biden officials colluded with social media companies to suppress speech about the Hunter Biden laptop story, the origins of COVID-19, the efficacy of masks, and election integrity. Earlier today, I spoke with the litigation counsel at New Civil Liberties Alliance, Janine Eunice, about a Friday ruling that Dr. Anthony Fauci and other White House officials must testify in the case. Janine Eunice, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you're representing some of the plaintiffs in a federal case alleging government censorship via Twitter, Facebook, and Google. First off, could you summarize the case?
Yes. So NCLA, where I work, is representing four private plaintiffs, two of whom co-authored the Great Barrington Declaration, which questioned government COVID restrictions. The crux of the lawsuit is that the federal government has been directing social media companies to censor people who have certain views on COVID. The lawsuit is actually broader and encompasses like election misinformation and the Hunter Biden laptop, but our plaintiffs are only the COVID misinformation plaintiffs. So we're alleging that that's a First Amendment violation because the government is effectively using private parties to accomplish its censorship aims.
And a federal judge has ruled that Dr. Anthony Fauci and other White House officials must testify in a case. How significant is that?
It's pretty significant. It's rare for high-level, high-ranking government officials to be deposed or for a judge to order that that's warranted. And
And look, for those of y'all who haven't checked in on it, so this is currently, they've been deposing Fauci within the last couple weeks, right? And some of the sound bites is crazy. They grilling his ass, and he basically, they start talking about the mandates and where did the social distancing come from. They start asking him about the implementation of masks. Bro was up there stuttering on the stand. You know what I'm saying? It was looking real crazy. So, but this ain't just pigeonholed into the pandemic. It's tied into the election and a lot of foreign policy situations. I had a video. I wish I could have played it for y'all, man, but powers that be was tripping today, but it's all good. So listen to the rest of this video, though.
The reason that we were able to show that it is that the judge had ordered discovery. So we got lots of email communications between the federal officials and the tech companies showing an orchestrated campaign where the government was really directing the social media companies, telling them what to do, what kind of post to censor, in some cases even who to censor. And so the judge found that that was an extraordinary enough situation and enough to establish a First Amendment violation, and so said we had the right to sort of seek more information. And there are indications in the emails that there were phone calls and Zoom meetings, so we want to know what happened at those meetings that are not, they're not written down.
And Dr. Fauci has denied censoring big tech, but as you mentioned, emails between top government officials and big tech seem to show otherwise. So what can we expect from these depositions then?
Well, we don't know. I'll be very curious. I mean, of course, what we're interested in learning about is the extent and degree of the government's involvement and nature of the government's involvement. We already know that it's quite significant, that there was really a sort of a vast censorship enterprise. I think there's enough right now to establish a First Amendment violation and for the court to hold that. But, we obviously want to know if there's even more, if this went even further. So, we want to be able to question them about that.
So do you think that there's an opportunity here to rethink the First Amendment in the context of censorship surrogacy? And what do you think could be done or should be done to protect free speech in the age of big tech?
That's an excellent question, and I think that's sort of what this case is all about. I mean, there's no precedent for this for obvious reasons because we never really had social media before, and until this era, the past few years, there really hasn't been sort of an orchestrated censorship to take down certain viewpoints. It's mostly been limited to people who say, for instance, anti-Semitic things or racist things or that kind of material. So this is just new territory, and I think it's really important to establish that the government can't use these private companies. The government can't be involved in telling them, who can be heard and who has to be silenced.
Thank you so much, Janine Eunice, Litigation Counsel for the New Civil Liberties Alliance. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
Hey, and I agree with her. Tech can be used in some beautiful ways, right? But when the wrong people get to playing around and trying to control things, mess everything up, right? You shouldn't be censoring. If what people are saying is so crazy and so off base, let people go and decide for that. Go do your research and see if that person, one individual person, ain't just about to change people's minds. The problem is it goes against the programming, man. Why would they want to go and spend time they being the government to control what social media platforms have certain users and allowing them to say? What's the purpose of the government doing that? That has nothing to do with national security. You get what I'm saying? So to prove that, so now you hear it here. Y'all heard about the different people and the cases that they have, which stirred all this up. Now I want y'all to hear Rand Paul actually going to interrogate some of the FBI director in the Department of Homeland Security. So I want y'all to hear this, because remember, they were saying all this stuff false. Remember, they were talking about Hunter Biden with the gun and the laptop and all that was fake. But what just happened? He just got convicted on the gun charge. So what's really the truth and what's not, man? You see what I'm saying? If you got any type of analytical view, you can see something ain't right. But here go the deposition right here. And I want y'all to tell me, chime in, let me know in the comments what y'all think, bro. You coming into this after the fact. If you've been in tune to what's going on, let me know what you think. So here we go. Let's run it.
Is DHS still meeting with social media companies to discuss content moderation?
Ranking Member Paul, you and I have discussed this before. We do not meet with social media companies for the purpose of instructing them to take down content.
You have never had any meetings with the social media companies to discuss content moderation?
What we have done in the past, Ranking Member Paul, as I shared with you previously, is we, along with other federal agencies, have met with social media companies in a public-private partnership to speak of the threats to the homeland so that those companies are alert to them.
Do you think a threat to the homeland is a discussion of vaccine efficacy?
I do not, Ranking Member Paul. And
if you'll have your staff read, and I think it'd be good for you to read also the Missouri versus Biden case, it lists time and time again discussion of constitutionally protected speech that has nothing to do with national security. So when you say you didn't meet to do with that, yes, you were meeting, you just disagree with the characterization of it. Were you meeting with social media companies to discuss content moderation? And your answer to that is no?
My answer.
That's the specific question. Did you meet with them, and were you meeting with them to discuss content on the internet?
My answer remains the same, Ranking Member Paul, that we met on a periodic basis with other federal agencies and a group of social media companies to speak with them about the threat environment that the homeland faced.
Right, and this include discussion of vaccine.
He said, right, bro, getting spicy with him.
Efficacy, mask efficacy, Hunter Biden's laptop. Are these meetings still occurring?
Ranking Member Paul, they are not. We do not participate in any such
meeting. The reason the meetings aren't occurring is because a federal judge placed an injunction on you, and the Biden administration acknowledged that they're not having the meetings.
Thanks.
So you need at least acknowledge that the court is talking to you about this and saying what you were doing was violating the First Amendment. Director Wray, same question. Is the FBI still meeting with social media companies?
We're having some interaction with social media companies, but all of those interactions have changed fundamentally in the wake of the court's
Change from what?
That's sort of an acknowledgement that perhaps you weren't just talking about national security, child pornography, and human trafficking, right? You had other areas of discussion that did involve constitutionally protected speech.
No, that's not an acknowledgement of that.
Then how did you change your behavior?
Out of an abundance of caution, in order to make sure that we don't run afoul of any court ruling. I would say, by the way, of course, that the injunction has been stayed.
So they cover in their ass.
By the Supreme Court.
Did anybody from the FBI ever discuss constitutionally protected speech with social media organizations?
Not to my understanding.
Vaccine efficacy, never discussed any post concerning vaccine efficacy?
Well, certainly not, because to my understanding, as you know, the FBI was the first and for a long time the only agency in the intelligence community to assess that the COVID origin was most likely from a lab leak. So the idea that we were engaging in...
I commend you for that, but the Twitter files and other indications, as well as the Missouri versus Biden, list many cases of both DHS and FBI discussing constitutionally protected speech, vaccine efficacy, mask efficacy, people who said, my brother got the vaccine and died yesterday. And the brother actually did die, but proof of cause and effect is one thing. But taking down posts like that was part of the discussion in these meetings.
Not by the FBI. We would not have been engaging with social media companies about vaccine efficacy, to my knowledge, certainly.
Director Wray, in 2017, the Department of Justice issued subpoenas to members of the House Intelligence Committee, congressional staffers, as well as Senate Judiciary Committee staffers to turn over private information. Were you involved with that investigation, aware of it at the time?
I'm not familiar with that specific investigation.
This had to do with the leaks, I believe. We have never been told completely, but the leaks concerning the Crossfire Hurricane and the leaks concerning the conversation between Flynn and Kislyak that was wiretapped, that was classified, that somehow got out. But you're not aware of anybody from Congress being investigated?
Well, as I sit here right now, that's not something that's ringing a bell for me.
Man, he don't know a damn thing to be in the FBI, bro.
Do you see a problem with the Department of Justice issuing subpoenas to congressional staffers who are providing oversight to the very organization that's issuing the subpoenas?
Well, certainly, anytime there's an investigative activity that touches upon a separate branch of government, namely the legislative branch, it has to be done extraordinarily carefully. And there are all kinds of policies that the department has in place to make sure that that's done appropriately.
Director A, did the FBI pay Twitter money to moderate content moderation?
I'm not aware of us paying money to moderate content there or anywhere else.
What was the $3 million for that the FBI gave that's been revealed in Twitter files, which has been characterized by those writing the Twitter files as payment for content moderation? Basically, they said Twitter, you know, you guys were meeting with them all the time, and you had them taking down so many posts. They said, well, gosh, it's a lot of work. Why don't you pay us? And so you did. You paid them $3 million. Are you aware of the payment?
Well, I'm not aware of that specific payment, but I can tell you that when it comes to payments, going back well over 4 decades, when we are required by federal law, when a company, like in this instance a provider, goes through expenses to produce information, we're required to reimburse them for those expenses. And so I think that a lot of the questions about payments revolve around exactly that.
And you will repeat under oath that there was never any discussion of the FBI to take down constitutionally protected speech. You think it's all national security, child pornography, sex trafficking, no discussion of constitutionally protected speech, because this is all going to come out, and a lot of it's come out already in depositions, but you're saying there was never any discussion by any of your agents in any of these meetings of constitutionally protected speech being taken down?
To my knowledge, our agents conducted themselves in compliance with the law throughout.
Same question to Secretary Mayorkas. You're not aware of your agents ever discussing any constitutionally protected speech with any of the social media companies?
The same answer as Director Ray provided to you, Ranking Member Paul.
Thank you, Ranking Member Paul. Senator Hassan, you're.
That boy, Paul, looked like he ain't had no sleep. Boy, was ready for this. He rolled straight out the bed, came to this case, ready to ask them questions. He knew what he was doing because you see the cop-out was, to my knowledge. Yeah, because they ain't finna go do something and you tell you. These folks know the law, man. They know what they doing. So, hey, I'm just your homeboy with the news. But we got to talk about all these contradictions that's been coming out in the media, man. It's just, if you reading between the lines, you can see something ain't right. So to break down for folks who are not up on game, what Rand Paul is saying is that money was paid to Twitter, $3 million, right? The FBI is saying that, oh, well, we pay for any type of services regardless of what they are. They have to, by law, pay. When they ask for something to be done, they got to pay. What they're saying is, the FBI is saying that what they asked to be done was strictly only about national security, as if who really on Twitter and Facebook talking about national security? That ain't what the average everyday person is talking about. But you know what they was talking about? The pandemic, talking about the election, things that's really going on in their everyday life. So it's just funny how we know as your average everyday citizen, if you put the wrong thing on social media, it will get flagged and it will get shadow banned. This is the truth, right? The question is why? Because you got people like Trump. This just show how egregious this is at a high level, and in the way that they'll go to censor people. Because why should anybody be censored when the whole thing about free speech, but they can circumvent the free speech through these private technology companies? That's the play here, y'all. This is how only certain things get approved to get mainstream media. That's not a coincidence. We just here trying to break it down from an autonomous perspective. So you know how we do, man. Like always, we appreciate the love and the support. Gonna hit y'all a little bit of commercials on the way out. Got a new build Sunday. Mac and the podcast crew coming to do what they do. And then we got Lee Cummings coming on the 18th, right before Juneteenth. So we got a special show for y'all, man. So appreciate y'all rocking with us. Gonna hit the commercials on the way out. Y'all keep it positive. Keep it pushing, man. We out of here.
lover, less drifter. Separate, sipping, and you know I came with it if she cute.
Do.
Whenever I start to feel alone, I just play the voicemail that I say before things change. Now I read the message you sent, trying to tune out when you say I know you love me, but you should just forget about